How many kinds of sweet flowers grow in an English country garden? I'll tell you now of some that I know, and those I miss you'll surely pardon. Daffodil, heartsease and phlox, meadowsweet and lady smocks, gentian, lupin and tall hollyhocks, roses, foxgloves, snowdrops, forget-me-nots in an English country garden. In an English country garden. How many insects come here and go through our English country garden? I'll tell you now of some that I know, and those I miss you'll surely pardon. Fireflies, moss and bees, spiders climbing in the trees, butterflies that sway on the cool, gentle breeze. There are snakes, ants that sting, and creeping things in an English country garden. In an English country garden. How many songbirds fly to and fro through our English country garden? I'll tell you now of some that I know, and those I miss you'll surely pardon. Bobolink, cuckoo and quail, tanager and cardinal, bluebird and lark, thrush and nightingale. There is joy in the spring when the birds begin to sing in an English country garden. In an English country garden. Robin, 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 don't forget the robin. Don't forget the robin, robin. Robin, 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 don't forget the robin.
The old hometown looks the same as I step down from the train, and there to meet me is my mama and papa. Down the road I look, and there runs Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. Yes, they'll all come to meet me, arms reaching, smiling sweetly. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. The old house is still standing, though the paint is cracked and dry. And there's that old oak tree that I used to play on. Down the lane I walk with my sweet Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. Then I awake and look around me at 4 gray walls that surround me, and I realize, yes, I was only dreaming. For there's a God and there's a sad old portrait. On and on we'll walk at daybreak. Again I'll touch the green, green grass of home. Yes, they'll all come to in the shade of that old oak tree as they lay me neath the green, green grass of home.
Ah, wasn't that beautiful? Bit of Tom Jones losing his Welsh accent in that song. So, anyway, here we are. Hi, good afternoon. How the devil are you? I thought we'd have a little look at the sort. It's going to be. Look, I just want to say something about myself, and I've got a very healthy ego. I think I've mentioned it before. It's why I can get out of bed every day, and why I use copious amounts of light. As keeps being pointed out by the TRAs, I'm 50, lads. I don't care. But I'm also not stupid. I'm not going to come on here without showing you every single flaw. Anyway, I thought I'd have a look. And like I said, I'm brilliant. This is delicious. What I've decided to do here, forming a party, standing in this election, watching all, like, there's lots of stuff going on. Oh, you should ask this. You should write a letter and ask this. You should do a petition and ask that. And wonderful, isn't it wonderful? But we won't be doing that because here, Party of Women, what are we doing? We're doing it. We're not asking, not begging, we're not pleading. We're not asking for a politician's answer and then not being able to say anything else. We're actually doing something pretty damn remarkable, even if I do say so myself. And like I said yesterday, we have 4 more candidates. 4 times the candidates as Women's Equality Party. And I think we've probably got 400 times smaller is the actual budget. We don't have any. I don't even know if I did tell you actually, but I'm telling you now anyway. WEP, loads and loads of celebrity type backing, absolutely shed loads of money plowed into it. We've got four times their candidates. Anyway, let's have a look at one of the superstars standing against me in Bristol. I think she's rather special. I've watched a tiny bit of this, but I wanted to enjoy it like you will. And let me just say, save your congratulations. Save your compliments and your comments about how much of a genius I am. Just save it all. Because don't eat popcorn before going on a live stream, by the way. Save all your comments because we are about to witness something together that's beautiful. Okay, this is beautiful. And what's shocking about this woman? Well, have a look.
Campaign groups that have been set up specifically to try and reduce their human rights. It's shocking.
Oh, should we just...
in this country and
inclusive party, absolutely. But yeah, it's definitely important.
One of the areas that there's been a kind of schism between
Nish Kumar. Oh God, remember him as in such things as no, I can only think of that cricket lunch.
between the Scottish Greens and the rest of the Green movement is around
the proper batshit crazy Greens and the lesser crazy Greens, although still crazy Greens. I just want to say, and this might annoy some of you, but I have no idea why anybody has stayed in the Greens. Like, what do you want? What do you want? Oh, please, just punch me one more time and then I might leave. Just tell me you hate me one more time. Just erase one more of my rights. Please, I'm begging you. I just need a kicking while I'm down.
Around the issue of the rights of transgender people. And it's sort of my personal view on this subject
is I'm a bit of a, I think what they call on this is I'm a bit of a misogynist.
Is that this is a minority that has been...
This is a men's rights fetish movement. Yep, go on.
Demonized quite specifically.
It's shocking. shocking that anybody would demonize this powerful elitist group of blokes. Like shocking.
As part of a kind of political campaign by the political right to create a wedge within progressive movements in this country.
Between people who give a shit about women and people who don't give a shit about women. By people who care about women and by people who don't care about women. By people who care about children and by people who don't care about children. That's the wedge I perceive. How about you, Nish?
Country, and I think it's a community that has been extremely vulnerable to acts of violence. But
anybody want to wager against me that he won't cite a single statistic that is remotely true, if any at all? I'll wager 100 quid that he doesn't.
It's also now extremely vulnerable to exploitation by the political right. And
yeah, I mean, that's meaningless. Exploitation by the political right. Yeah. What does that mean, Nish? What exploitation are you talking about exactly? Because let's say I agree with Nish. I don't. I think he's beyond foolish. But let's say, and misogynist. Let's say I agree with him, right? And I do think that men deserve to be in women's spaces. How is that being exploited by the right? How is that being exploited by the right?
I'm just wondering, what are your views on the way that this issue is being handled, and how can we, as a kind of progressive conversation, sort of
silence women more?
Speak as one voice in this issue, because that's specifically something that Sian Berry cited when she quit as leader last year, that she said she could no longer make the claim that the party speaks unequivocally with one voice on this issue.
I'm just going to fact check you slightly. Yeah. Sian didn't actually resign as leader. She just didn't restand when there was an election when her co-leader resigned. Yeah. I agree with you. I'm increasingly really alarmed by the way trans people in this country are being treated as, I was going to say political football, but I would say it's even worse than that. Like
more like rugby, maybe hockey, maybe golf, maybe they're being treated like a political golf ball tournament, like a hockey puck, like a political hockey puck, maybe like a political battering ram to destroy women's rights. You know, I hate that too.
Like specifically targeted by, you know, campaign groups that have been set up specifically to try and reduce their human rights. It's
who, me? Specifically, what? Let Women Speak, standing for women, Party of Women, specifically to make sure that we deal with that particular kind of cult. Specifically, oh, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun, ladies and gentlemen.
Shocking. I'm bisexual, so I'm part of the.
So I'm like a nothing like trans. And because I'm bisexual, I don't mind. You know, I note I haven't said pansexual because I'm actually panphobic. But yes, let's hear what she's got to say about penises in women's spaces.
LGBTIQA community myself.
Oh, what? LGBTQA community? Okay.
A bunch of my friends are trans and non-binary, so there's a personal element for me as well. It's really scary, and I think we can't
talk about these things with any meaning because nothing means anything. Because what is non-binary? If nobody is any sex at all, then are they bisexual, or what does that actually mean? Because I've just said bisexual, which basically says I'm not attracted to people who are non-binary because I'm actually phobic against people that are non-binary.
We can't just assume that like progress in society is inevitable. I think it can be dialed back, and there is a risk of
which is the whole freaking trans movement, love. The dialing back of women's rights, the regression of women's rights. Oh my God, I can't wait to meet this woman. It's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so much fun for me. Possibly not so much for her, but so much. So, oh my God. It is like I'm 50 on Thursday, and for me, listening to this is like an early birthday present. So from me to me, you're welcome.
LGBTIQA rights being dialed back in this country and in other countries as well. And we have to,
we have to get those cocks into those changing rooms. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right now. I'm saying it with a very level, one might say boring tone to my voice, because it's so important that men do have access. And I'm an engineer, do have access into women-only spaces, and lots of countries all over the world are doing that. Countries where women don't have actually access to yada yada yada, abortion or reproductive rights, or maybe sometimes in countries where homosexuals are thrown off buildings, and but they will do gender affirming care. So I think that we are for regressive policies. So as a bisexual who doesn't recognize non-binary people in my dating pool, and policy, and progressive trans, progressive.
Yeah, we can't just sit on our laurels. We have to be active.
Who's Laurel? Jesus Christ.
As progressive campaigners and politicians to stand up for trans people's rights. So I'm never shy about being really clear about our policies on that. So
can I just say one thing I'm not going to say as a politician? Really clear. I'm being really clear. I'm really clear. Can I just clarify? Clear.
Green Party of England and Wales policy is that we would bring in reform of the Gender Recognition Act to make it easier, less bureaucratic.
Because many people who claim to be trans are illiterate, and they find filling out a simple form and attending one meeting really difficult. And at the same time, I'm not sure I'm going to speak about PIP tests and the sort of assessments that people have to go through if they have disabilities and they want help with that, because who needs to talk about that? They don't even have really a proper flag. So, the bureaucratic, demeaning, humiliating form filling for an illiterate person who is non-binary is something that we really would like to reform.
Less of a medicalized process to get your gender affirmed, including recognizing non-binary identities, which currently there's no ability to do that.
Oh, shocking. No ability to recognize non-binary. Jesus. I don't know how those people get through their middle class and overprivileged day. Must be so difficult.
There's a load of kind of bureaucratic things like wedding vows. You're not allowed to say spouse, you have to say husband or wife.
No wonder there's so much suicide, because if you genocide at weddings, if you have to say husband and wife and not spouse. Oh, I'm over it now.
Right.
Which means that friends of mine, a couple, both of whom are non-binary.
Can I just make a point that the suicide stats for this are untrue, which is why it's perfectly reasonable to laugh in the face of such things.
They have to choose between not getting legally married, which they want to, or misgendering each other in their wedding vows.
Oh, well, I think they should misgender each other in their wedding vows. In fact, I'd say, are they actually legally old enough to marry? Do they have sound mind? Do they have the capacity to consent to marriage vows and a marriage and a legally binding contract if they find something like the words husband and wife so difficult?
Yeah.
And for the vast majority of the UK population who are cisgender, this doesn't affect us.
Yeah. It doesn't affect me either. It doesn't affect me right now if two very special attention-seeking middle-class nothing better to think about all day than themselves, whether they want to get married or not, and whether they find that it doesn't actually affect me now. Not right now. I'm not even affected when I hear you talk about it.
And they may sound like small things, but if it's you and it's your relationship, it's your marriage, then it's.
Yeah, but what is a marriage? Why not just identify as married? Why not just why even bother with paper? It seems pointless. What a big fat waste of money. Just say you're married and that's fine.
It's basic dignity. It's the basic dignity that the rest of us have.
And it's the dignity of people actually conducting the wedding that they don't want to actually participate in your weird, silly little cult.
And it's not unreasonable to
also,
expect.
who does that hurt?
Hurts all of us, Nish, because it's bullshit. So in many ways, it kind of takes the very foundation of sensible facts and reality, and that foundation that we all stand upon, like truth, and it basically just unmoors us all from it, and then nobody knows, like Angela Rayner talks about, their arse from their elbow.
That's what exactly. I don't really understand.
Well, there's a lot you don't understand, Nish, and I would imagine this is the very, very smallest part of that massive, great big warehouse of things that you don't understand.
And there's a lot of misinformation circulating around what gender recognition reform would mean.
Come on, then. I'm imagining she doesn't know.
Like there's a lot of people talking about single-sex spaces and toilets, but it's not about that. It's about dignity.
No, because those places are gone because of the GRA and because of gender reassignment in the Equality Act. Let's just make it clear. That women don't have any rights.
In your marriage certificate and your death certificate and so on, and just being recognised for who you are.
Yeah, because even when we bury you, we'll lie for you, because that's really sensible. What a great, in Afghanistan, they don't recognise women even in death. And now in the UK, we may do the same.
And I think that's the bare minimum that people should expect in this country.
Yeah, when you're born and when you die. When you're born, and I'm going to say this, and I know it annoys people, and I don't know if I've told you before, but I don't care. The birth certificate, anybody's birth certificate in this country, anybody, you can have a second one that says some special little lies to make your parents, whoever they might be, feel special and connected, because apparently being your parent is not enough. And legal. So you can have a legal thing, right? But the birth certificate should have the name of your father and the name of your mother. And by that, I mean your biological mother and father. Whether you're a sperm donor's daughter or not, you should have the right to know who your mother and father is. Everybody should have that right. A birth certificate is a legal record of your birth and your genealogy. And I just think that that's what should happen. And I'm sorry if it upsets people. I am just as nasty about a man on a birth certificate who is a woman who lies about the father of a baby, or a man that is included just to make everything look pretty and neat and tidy, who isn't the father of the baby. I feel the same about that. It is not a same-sex thing. It's not an adoption thing. It's merely a truth thing. And sometimes if we try and stick to the truth in these sorts of things, always, if we just accept that sometimes the truth isn't very nice, and yet it still needs to be told, then we all know where we are. And the birth certificate isn't something that's supposed to make everyone feel warm and fluffy. It's an actual just legal document that has to be accurate.
A slight sort of looping back, but gender recognition reform, but also things like allowing people to have an X marker on their passports.
Oh, go on then. Pop off to China. Why don't you? That's a great idea. Why, I know. Seems you love it so much. Why don't you put that on your passport and fly in to Palestine, or fly in to any of the other countries that you seem to be focused on more than fly into the Ukraine with your little X on your passport. Go on. You just try it, love. Brilliant.
Like who does that harm? Nobody, but it's just a small bit of dignity for the people it affects. And also, looping back to the conversation earlier about refugees and asylum, one of the Lord's amendments that was quashed in ping pong was about LGBT refugees and trying to protect them from being deported to countries where they could face harm. And the government.
Well, I don't think you should, because apparently we are terrible in this country for the tea part. So I think if you're claiming asylum on the basis of tea, we're terrible. I think definitely that would just be such a bad marrying of ideology. So don't do that.
Government have said no to that, and it's really heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So it's really the responsibility of all of us, you know, whether we're part of the LGBTIQA community or not, to challenge politicians on this. And
that's exactly what I'm going to do, Cara. So Carla. That's exactly what I'm going to do, Carla. I'm going to come and challenge you. I'm so excited.
To hold them to account and to really be clear about that we're standing with our trans siblings and whoever.
So I want to ask you a question that is, I'm trying really hard to insert a Fast and the Furious reference. But I was watching it over the weekend, and I was saying to Nish earlier that have you watched that?
Oh God, who listens to this podcast is dreadful. Anyway, I thought I'd give you that. I've now got a meeting with the candidates, so I better go. But I think it's going to be very, very exciting. Very exciting. Somebody just corrected did I say genealogy? Genealogy. It's the same. It's my accent. Okay, look. These will be on the website later. Please go and buy some merch. It helps fund everything that we need to do. And it will make me very happy. And everywhere you go, you can, I mean, come on. It's great. Everything we do here at Party of Women is pretty outstanding. Okay. Much love to you all. I'm absolutely boiling. I need to take some dough in the house so that I can make dinner. And then I'm having a meeting. So, Carla Delevingne, see you soon. If you want to help us, please do go to the ballot bucket and contribute to the campaign, national, as well as individual women. You will find many of them. Just look for Pau. Julia Long, for example, is one of them. And then she's got Julia Long Pau. So do go and find our candidates. You can also go to the website and you can find a candidate page and see if there's somebody near you. We have 16 registered candidates, which, like I said, is 4 times more than the Women's Equality Party. We've only been going about 6.5 minutes. I hope you have a lovely evening.